Oh, hi. Are you here for the 2 o'clock appointment? Okay, yeah, good job finding us. Good job finding us. Yeah, a lot of people are having trouble locating the new temporary location of our services as the official building is under construction. Yeah. You know, rent is high. We are temporarily relocated to the Sephora. So we are gonna be continuing with your personality quiz the best that we can with the resources that we have accessible to us at the moment. Can you remind me of your name again? And you're here for the 2 o'clock personality quiz? Okay. I like to jump right into it, so to hold your hair back when you're doing makeup, what can I give you? We have 3 options. Ready? Okay, so we can give you this white headband. We can give you this little tan headband with a little bow, little retro. You got it? Okay. Or we could give you this cat headband. Yeah. Here, I'll model it for you. Yeah, no, I can tell you about them once you choose which one. Okay, yeah, so this one is your vanilla ice cream of the pack. This one is gonna signify that you're kind of basic, you're kind of boring, but you might have some other traits, but it's really not apparent on the outside. This one shows that you're kind of a trend follower. You want to look a little pretty, but not too pretty, nothing too extravagant, just kind of go with the flow, look a little pretty, but not enough to draw anybody's attention. And then the cat headband shows that you're like a little child at heart. You're okay with people telling you that they don't like you and you don't care, and you're just gonna keep being yourself anyways, okay? Okay. Gonna put those over there. Now, what brush would you like me to do your makeup with? If I was gonna do your makeup, which I am not, this is a personality test to be completely clear with you. Yeah, your options are small, medium, and large. That's what we call them here in like the makeup industry. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a little test on each one. Here's the medium one. Yeah, that one's a little lighter. And here's the baby. Make your choice. Yeah, so the small brush shows that you're trying to make an impact in the world. You really are, but you're just throwing things at the wall and nothing's really sticking. Yeah, that really sucks for you. Anyways, if you chose the big brush, you're an impact maker, okay? You tried something and people loved it. It had exactly the result that you wanted. But just make sure you don't get caught up in this one thing too much without branching out a little bit. And then the medium brush, the light wispy medium brush, shows that you are a wanderer. You know, you don't care about your impact on the world. You don't care if it's big, you don't care if it's small. You're really just doing it for yourself. Yeah, brushes can really tell you a lot about, you know, like who someone is, like what they're doing for the world. Yeah. Anyways, for your foundation, yeah, you would apply it with the brush that you chose earlier. So for your foundation, we have some options. Full coverage. Medium coverage. Or invisible coverage. So, what's your choice? Okay. Yeah, so foundation is really gonna tell you a lot about how your childhood has impacted you. Yeah, what kind of childhood experience you had with regards to your parents. My nose was itchy. Anyway, your full coverage foundation. I actually can't wear this one because it's too intense for my skin. It's too much, right? So this is gonna be like your parents that are like, you know, your helicopter parents, your kind of crazy mums and dads and everybody that are just on top of every little thing in your life and you can't breathe. It's like your pores are being like suffocated. Yeah. Your medium coverage foundation, you know, that's kind of your just right, you know. You're kind of, you know, in the field, psychology. We call it like you're like kind of like the like assertive parenting or something, you know. Authoritative, that's what you call it, you know, not too on top of the kids, but also present in their lives. And then you can probably see where I'm going with this. Your parents do not love you. They were not present in your lives at all. You know, you were kind of on your own, which maybe led to some great independence, maybe some like attachment issues. You know, it's really kind of depends on the person, but this is going to tell you all about your childhood, okay? So now I know about your childhood. Okay, for lashes. Are you gonna use a lash curler? Or are you gonna use some sky high mascara? Yeah, those are your options. You have to do something with your lashes. You can't just leave them there. So you're gonna have your curlers or your mascara. Okay, so yeah, this is gonna be telling you a little bit about how much of yourself you hide, you know, okay. The curlers, these show that you present your best self to the world, but you don't hide it up, you know, you don't cover it up. It's your best, most authentic self, even if it is a little, you know, like, oh, I'm in a work environment, I'm gonna act professional, or I'm at a party, I'm gonna kind of live it up a little bit. Someone is being very loud, I'm gonna kind of live it up a little bit, you know. You might slightly adjust your personality depending on the circumstances, but you don't hide who you are, you know. That's a good thing, that's a beautiful thing. But the mascara, especially, you know, sky high, wow, yeah. You tend to conceal your identity a bit and not just like, oh, I'm gonna be professional at work, right? I'm gonna call this guy sir, even though I don't respect him whatsoever. You know, you're gonna kind of conceal yourself to an unhealthy degree, and maybe you conceal yourself based on your foundation choice, you know, your childhood, your parents, your trauma. Maybe you're trying to hide that, you know. It's not always a bad thing. It's just, you know, it is what it is. So I'm gonna put this over here. Okay, so what kind of palette speaks to you the most? Here, let's go through our options. So this one on top, this is gonna be, you know, some kind of purple, some kind of white, some kind of blacks, you know. This one. This is a painter's palette. So this is like, you know, your kind of like stage makeup. That's cute. And then right here, are your nudes. These are your nudes. These are, you know, your basic. You know, you got a lot of options, but like 90% of them are browns. You like that? Okay, let me show you everything again. Okay. Yeah, so these are gonna kind of tell you a bit about like your hobbies, you know, kind of what environments you like to spend your time in. So, you know, obviously, you know, there's like our theater palette. So you might be like a theater kid, singer, dancer, actor, etc. But it doesn't necessarily always mean that. It just means you spend your time in a dramatic environment, whether it's dramatic as a form of art or just dramatic as its nature. Maybe there's some dramatic people. Oh, hey, look, you can see my face in the hi. Okay, so then you're gonna have your browns, right? So you can maybe see where I'm going with this, but maybe in your life, you know, you've got hobbies, you've got these, nice spaces you spend your time in, but they're fairly predictable. This doesn't mean you don't do crazy things occasionally. You got your intense blacks, you got your intense, kind of whites, but for the most part, your life is like pretty kind of like mundane. Yeah, maybe like pick up a new hobby or something. Okay, yeah, and then this one's gonna be kind of about how your space is, depends day to day. So, you got your super intense black, your super intense white, but then you kind of got these more chill, kind of like purples, kind of like blues. So, you've got your dramatic spaces, your crazy spaces, crazy hobbies, whatever. And then, you got like a kind of gray thing here, kind of some more similar colors. So you have kind of tame environments, but also you like to put yourself in some kind of more dramatic environments a little bit. Okay, what do you think about that? Yeah, that's sweet. Okay, so I just have a few more questions for you, okay? Next up, so yeah, we're gonna do some like lip product. So you have your clear, it's clear, but it's glossy, it's nice, it's glossy. Here, I'll demonstrate. Yeah, you can kind of see it, I guess. Another product is this. Very purple stuff. It's purple. And finally, this little heart. Little heart, pink. So here, which one are you drawn to the most? Okay, so these are gonna kind of signify your love life. So they're gonna be regarding not necessarily if you have or don't have a love life. The clear one, it doesn't necessarily mean you don't have a romantic partner, but it's more so the type of love and the type of passion that you're going to be experiencing in those like relationships. So yeah, the clear is kind of bad news. It doesn't mean you're forever alone. It just means that you have issues with love and attachment. It's hard for you to really get in love with somebody. It doesn't mean you can never do it. It just means it's going to be rough for you to fully trust somebody, to fully connect with somebody, to get yourself, fully involved into a romantic situation. Regarding this nice little heart, you like romantic love, you like going out on little dates, you like having the door held for you, you think it's sweet when like, oh man is gonna, oh my goodness, he paid for my dinner, that's so nice. Or maybe, oh my goodness, I bought, earthquake, I bought you like a new shirt, or I got you some flowers, kind of traditional dating stuff like that, kind of romance. And then the purple, oh my goodness, the purple means that you're very passionate in your relationships, maybe even a little too passionate, but they're all consuming of your life. You put this stuff on your lips, people are going to be able to tell it's on your lips. So this is going to signify like, okay, so you have a very like clear relationship, very like clearly you're involved with this person, they're kind of all consuming in your life, and definitely very passionate love in that relationship. You know, just don't take it too far. Make sure you're making time for your girls, time for you guys, time for your friendy friends as well, okay? Because if you break things off with your special person, you're gonna have nobody left if you've burnt all your other bridges. Well, I really do hope that you've learned something today about yourself, but I gotta go restock the lipsticks, so bye.